everyone, welcome back to today's vlog. We are going to be doing a little bit of everything, some spring cleaning, making my bed, doing so much laundry. We're going to be deep cleaning my freezer. We're going to be changing the water filter, which is not a simple process. I will show you, and so many more things. So I hope you guys stick around and consider subscribing. I would love to have you as a subscriber. So without further ado, let's jump into it. So first off, I always make my bed no matter what I'm going to do for the day. I just am into this habit that I don't feel settled if my bed is not made. So luckily I actually changed our linen last night. You can see I put out our duvet. It's huge and doesn't really fit in our washing machine. I put it out to dry overnight, and this is something that I've never really done before, changing the sheets before we went to bed. But it's actually really great because when you wake up in the morning and a lot of the laundry is done, and not waste time on the weekend doing all my laundry. So now I'm just getting things ready around the kitchen, just cleaning up just any spills or any crumbs, and then I'm going to start deep cleaning our oven, which is something I've been putting off for a really long time. So I'm going to make a special paste out of baking soda and water essentially to put in the oven so that I can really just let it sit. And you're supposed to let it sit for 12 hours, which is why I wanted to do this kind of first thing in the morning, with the idea that I could then rinse it all off at the end of the day. So you can see I'm showing you what my oven looks like. The camera doesn't do it justice. It was much grosser in person. And you know, it's one of these tasks that I've been procrastinating on, and I haven't found the most amazing way to clean an oven, but it does look a hell of a lot better than it did before. So I will show you what it looks like at the end. I'm just removing all the oven racks, and I'm actually going to clean those as well in the bathtub. I'll show you that in a second. But for the beginning, I just need to take everything out and then start scrubbing all the grime that I can get out before I apply the baking soda mix.
As a young girl, it feels we're mine. We played hide and seek for hours, raised our shadows.
So as you can see, I'm creating the right consistency so that it's a paste that is easy enough to spread. It's not going to just fall apart and be all clumpy, but it also can't be too watery that it just drips. So make sure, just like with icing sugar or confectioner's sugar, that you are adding a little bit of water to the baking soda and not the other way around, and a little bit of water goes a long way. And then the idea behind this is that you place this paste on the oven or the inside of the oven. It's very safe and non-toxic, and it's slightly abrasive, so that when it has kind of dried and been sitting there for 12 hours, when you remove it, you take away the grime and the grease. I do think depending on how bad your oven is, you might need to do this a couple of times. You can see I'm setting myself a timer for 12 hours, which seemed absolutely insane. And now I'm going to move on to the oven racks, and the best place to wash these is in the bathtub because you can lay them side by side. And what I read online is that you use some dishwashing powder or detergent, anything that you would use in your dishwasher, for the oven racks, and let them soak for 4 hours.
All the way back to them days, running around in a gown and a crown, barefoot.
So while I have my oven and my oven racks all set up, I'm going to make some breakfast for the kids. We were making pancakes this morning, but I had frozen bananas and not any fresh ones. So I had to kind of get these out the freezer and defrost them. They actually make really delicious creamy pancakes, and they do defrost very quickly, but you can't use them immediately. So that's what I'm just doing, mashing them up so that they'll defrost as quickly as possible. And then while those bananas are thawing and the kids are playing, I'm going to attempt to clean out our water filter. Now this isn't your standard Brita type filter. This is called a Berkey, and it's a really high-powered water filter. I honestly think it makes our water taste amazing, like almost sweet, but not really. And if you just smell regular tap water, at least in New York City, it has this like chlorine whiff to it. Tell me what the water is like where you guys live. So that means that I know there's a lot of chemicals in it, but once it's filtered through this Berkey, which is designed to filter out mountain water if you go camping or anything like that. Let me know if you've ever heard of a Berkey, if you have one. Not everybody knows about them, but I highly recommend them. And they're also much more sustainable than a Brita filter where you have to change out the plastic filters. But because it's such a high-powered filter, it needs to be changed every now and again, and it has 4 filtered cylinders that you have to clean, and you have to make sure there's no air pockets in it. So I kind of avoid doing this every now and again, but it's amazing how I see this brown residue that comes from the top of the filter where the tap water goes in. It just shows you how dirty the water really is. So I'm very happy with my Berkey, but it is a bit of a pain to clean. So I thought I would just explain what I'm doing if you've never seen one of these things before. Basically, these 4 cylinders are the filtered elements of it, and they get really grimy, kind of with this almost like brown wet dust, if that makes sense, around them. So I just use soap and a bit of warm water, and I clean them, and I just make sure they're looking all good and not slimy. And then what you have to do, which is really important, is get out the air pockets, otherwise they can't filter the water again. So you have to, it comes with this little round disc that you put on top of them, and then you have to make the water at a very slow rate kind of just bleed through the water filter. So that's kind of what I'm doing. I don't think the beaded, it almost looks like beads of sweat. I don't think that will show up on the camera, but that's what I have to do with each of them. There's probably too much water right there. And then I can assemble it back again. And I also had to empty out all the water that was already in the drum at the bottom and the top, because I don't want to waste any water. So that's always the thing, and I just kind of avoid doing this. But once I do it, it's so nice and it filters much quicker, and our water is amazing.
Get to know you. Just wanna get to know you. I know you, but I want to get to know you. Just wanna get to know you. I know you, but I want to get to know you. Just wanna get to know you. I know you, but I want to get to know you.
Alright, so I'm back on the pancake train because my little team was getting very hungry. So the bananas have now thawed enough that I can actually mash them up and start adding all the pancake mix. I do a combination of like banana, usually 1 egg, some vanilla essence, a little bit of baking soda, some flour. Sometimes I grind some oats to make oat flour, a little bit of milk if I need to make it a bit more watery, and Bob's your uncle. It's naturally sweetened by the bananas. It's very quick and easy, and it's relatively healthy. So we like having these pancakes. I usually do them on a weekend day when I have a bit more time.
A pair of jeans and a dusty shirt. We didn't have a dime. No, you and me were poor as dirt. All we had was time. Stars over us, just a dream guiding us, and not a single cloud in the sky. If I could go back in time, I'd pack my bags right now. If I could play back my life, I wouldn't think twice. A pair of jeans and a dusty shirt. We didn't have a dime. I was tired.
So after breakfast was done, the kids went back to playing and I decided to clean out our freezer. Now mind you, it's not a huge freezer, so it's not going to take too long, but it's also one of those things that I don't do on a regular basis. So first off, I'm kind of just cleaning around the freezer and then I'm going to take everything out. You have to be quite hasty and speedy with this kind of thing because you don't want frozen goods to be outside for too long. So I'm taking out all of our dog food, which we have formula special, like human grade dog food, because #princess. And then this was also a good time to do the freezer because we didn't have that much in there and we hadn't gone shopping in a little while, and just a good time. And it was yucky in there, just dirty. I don't know, it just gets dirty so easily. Let me know if you have any good freezer tips because I just cleaned it as best as I could. It's kind of awkward because there is a door right next to it, so I can't really get in on the one side. I can only get in from the one side, and it's kind of like physical work, but you can see there it's like got splats and drips and yuck things. So it was time. A good thing to do for spring cleaning.
Look out, here she comes, the woman that I love.
So as you can see, I've taken everything out of the freezer and now I'm just spraying down with my little mixture of soap and water to try and clean this as much as I can. I'm rotating between a cloth and a scrubbing brush, and it's really tough to clean this freezer because I can't really get in there. One day I'll have an open top freezer.
'Cause I hope that I'm not showing how I feel for her, but she won't feel the same for me. I've got this picture in my mind. It's just the two of us, just the two of us. But I know I have to try to let her go, because she won't be mine. I listen when she talks, I watch her when she walks.
So as you can see, I put everything back and it's all nice and clean and dry. You want to make sure that all these pieces are really dry so they don't develop ice on them, which is great. So now I can start putting all of our food back into the freezer, and this didn't take that long, probably like 10 or 15 minutes, but it's so nice to have a clean freezer for spring. Another tip when cleaning your freezer is either you can put all of your freezer goods in the fridge just to keep them cold and so they don't start defrosting depending on how long it's going to take, or you could make sure that you do this in the morning, perhaps before it gets too hot. It's also good to do it at this time of year versus like the height of summer where the air in your apartment or house, I don't know about you, but our apartment gets really hot unless we're pumping the AC, which I don't always like to do. So it's good to just keep that in mind, that you want to work quickly, you want to keep the freezer closed in between kind of packing things and cleaning, and you want to make sure that you're not letting your food defrost.
But I have to try as hard as I can.
So you can see it's been several hours because I'm now checking on the oven racks that were in the bath, and I was able to get off a little bit of the grime, and then I brought them into the sink to see if I could scrub them a little bit better, both with my dish scrubbing brush, and then I also used this thing that looks like a spaghetti squash. I actually think it's made up of natural fibers and it has a very gentle abrasive element, but I kind of got impatient when it came to going through each little thing, so I did my best. And now it's time to tackle this gross oven. So you can see it looks like a blizzard exploded in my oven, and I'm going to just start to wipe away all of this baking soda. Luckily it's all natural, and you know, it's not going to like clog up the drain. If anything, it's good for it. So it's, you know, it's one of these things that you just got to do, but I think the result was good.
And sometimes oceans apart, gotta learn just how to move on.
So after you've wiped away as much of the baking soda paste as you can, the recommendation is that you fill a spray bottle with some vinegar, and this helps to dissolve all those little nooks and crannies that make it really hard to clean an oven, and the vinegar smell goes away really quickly, plus it's kind of a disinfectant. So I think this is really effective. I basically am spraying vinegar everywhere to try and get the glass looking cleaner, get the metal to be shinier, and to get rid of and dissolve all of that remaining baking soda residue, which definitely worked.
When you call me up and sound so sweet, there's nothing to blame.
So now we're at the final stretch of this deep spring clean. I'm wiping away the oven, putting back the oven racks, and it's much later in the evening now because it was about 12 hours for the oven to fully clean. Thank you so much for watching. Go ahead and subscribe if you like content here to help improve your life, and I'm so happy and grateful to have you here. Check out all the free resources in my description box down below, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.